thank you everybody for joining us today. Those of you in the crowd, as you just heard, and I was going to say anyways, so no worries, no doxing happening. My name is Hunter. I am the community manager over here at Offchain Labs, building Arbitrum. And for today's AMA, we're speaking to the great folks over at Woo Network, who just announced, by the way, that they are supporting Arbitrum One and a bunch of other great things actually that we'll talk about today. But yeah, hopefully everything's going well with you guys today.
Yeah, I think we're like absolutely buzzed to be here, Hunter. And yeah, I think yesterday was like a super exciting day with WooFi's launch on Arbitrum. So just blessed to be here and have the opportunity to sort of introduce ourselves to the Arbonauts and yeah, just kind of like give like a nice little intro into WooFi.
Indeed. Sorry, I was just grabbing a glass of water and finding a conference room, but I'm all situated now, so I think we can get rolling.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. So if you guys want, maybe we can just go through some quick intros. Kevin, maybe if you want to lead off, maybe kind of like what you guys do at Woo Network, and your titles.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Kevin. I basically I'm leading all the DeFi efforts at Woo Network. One of my main focus is leading the team that builds our decentralized exchange, which is called WooFi. Yeah, so we launched it in almost a year ago. Yeah, I've been focusing on basically expanding the WooFi product suite. I think we are going to get into a lot of details today. Very thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, Kevin. Just real quick, I'm Ben. I do a lot of the ecosystem stuff, a lot of things around growth. So supporting Kevin with his products and then supporting on the centralized side as well. Very happy to be here.
And lastly, yeah, I'm George. So I'm in the marketing team. I work very closely with Kevin. We pretty much live in each other's pockets. And my responsibility is just, to head up WooFi marketing. I'm also heavily involved in like the social media side. So yeah, just sort of write short form and long form content as well. And yeah, just like everyone else, blessed to be here and looking forward to having a good discussion today.
Oh yes, I can already tell it's going to be a great one. By the way, judging by the PFPs we got, great lineups, two Penguins as well as a Pepe. I love it. So I think the best way to get started here is to just generally get into kind of what Woo Network is, how it was born, and maybe what the vision behind it all is. And any of you can kind of pick up on this one.
Might be good for me to jump in here first, seeing as I've been here the longest. Actually, what we started out is basically a liquidity provider, right? Seeing a serious issue with both fragmentation and low liquidity on different exchanges throughout the CeFi ecosystem. Obviously, this narrative is becoming more and more interesting today, very topical with what's going on in the CeFi space. And around 2020, DeFi started emerging and a lot of trading activity moved on chain. And a lot of our core strengths apply very well to DeFi as well, where this fragmentation issue is even bigger. And obviously, as the layer one technology, plus the rollups, plus all the side chains as they mature, this becomes more and more compelling of a use case. So we're seeing a lot of our activities branch out on chain, which is why we added guys like Kevin, who's very experienced in the industry and a great mind as well. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what we're doing. We also have a CeFi exchange called WooX, which has support for Arbitrum, ETH, USDC, and Woo deposits, and hopefully more as well. And that's more or less the big picture.
So just so I understand this correctly, so you have a WooX centralized exchange, Woo Network, and then I guess we'll talk about WooFi as well. That are all different things.
Yeah, I mean, it started out as like a B2B liquidity layer, right? That anyone could plug into it. And then on top of that, we built our own suite of products. The CeFi one, WooX. The DeFi one's WooFi. We also have an order book DEX, which is running on something called Orderly Network. settling on near, but we also might be more multi-chain in the future. So yeah, it's like a whole suite of things: CeFi exchange, swap, earn products, and the order book DEX.
That's awesome. And I guess the most prevalent thing that we're talking about today is what recently launched on Arbitrum, which is WooFi, as you mentioned. Maybe if you want, maybe like an overview of WooFi would help, and maybe where it sits, as you mentioned, kind of, or maybe even more granular if you want, where it sits within the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think I nominate Kevin for this answer.
Yeah, sure. I can take that one. So yeah, WooFi, first of all, it's a multi-chain DEX, right? And it has different modules. The swap is really the center of the product, but and in addition to swap, we also have earn, where user can just deposit assets in the vault for to provide liquidity in our DEX without impermanent loss. And the other part is stake. Stake is where user can stake their Woo token. Actually, 80% of the swap fee that we earned from the DEX will be used to buy back Woo token and distribute to the stakers on various blockchains on the daily basis. So yeah, I think the swap, as I mentioned, swap is really the core of the product. So our DEX is very different from AMM. We use we developed this algorithm called SPMM. So it's more like proactive market maker. So basically, how it works is, since Ben mentioned, we have a centralized platform which has a very deep order book because we aggregate liquidity from all the centralized exchanges. So we actually basically just mirroring our centralized exchange order book onto the blockchain using a combination of techniques, like including our own on-chain price feed, our, as I mentioned, SPMM algorithm, and some of the other components. Basically, as a result, like whichever chain you are trading, and when you trade on WooFi, no matter which chain it is, you basically get the same price and same quote. So yeah, so it's very capital efficient. That's what we focused on. I think yesterday, since the market was super volatile, we actually did almost 60 million in 24 hours volume. I think we ranked number 12 on the DeFi Llama DEX dashboard. Yeah, so but with that volume, we achieved that volume with only a little bit over 5 million TVL, so which is impossible for AMM, because for AMM, when they launch on multiple blockchain, the liquidity is fragmented. So since we have, because of the design of WooFi, we are able to very quickly expand to multiple blockchain. We don't really have the capital, we don't have the constraint on the TVL because of the way how it's designed. So yeah, we are very excited that we finally launched on Arbitrum. I think which will help WooFi to even get more market share. And maybe the last thing I want to mention is in addition to these products, we recently launched a order book DEX, which is also under the WooFi umbrella, which is still in the beta product. But we want to basically fulfill all the needs of DeFi trader, right? From swap, earn, stake, or even include more like order book DEX, which for their more sophisticated trading strategy. Yeah, that would be like a quick overview.
It's interesting you brought up the 5 million TVL stat, because I saw the 60 million, which was like an all-time high for WooFi. But I hadn't even thought about the fact that underneath that, the whole TVL across all those chains was only about 5 million. So it's really quite impressive. It's very scalable. That's why we're very excited to be, on Arbitrum, where so much activity is happening. And not only is it happening, it's happening on major pairs, right, which are very tradable compared to some other chains where it's, very long tail assets that you've never heard of. So there's a huge opportunity here. So that's one of the reasons this is really big news for us.
I was actually looking at like on the dashboard yesterday to see where like a lot of our volume was coming from, and like so much of it was just simple like AVAX to USDC swaps. I think I saw like roughly about like 20 mil, and I'm fairly certain it was still climbing like even after I stopped checking. And I think just like Ben said, what's so exciting there is the fact that this is just blue chips that we're providing liquidity for, right? And Kevin is he's like innovating all the time, and we can talk more about it. But like obviously this Arbitrum launch saw the introduction of SPMM v2, and like kind of with that, what we're trying to do is break out from essentially just sort of the assets that we currently have listed, and kind of in the future aim to provide liquidity for like even more assets, right, beyond just like Bitcoin, Ethereum, like Avalanche, Matic, and Woo and stables. We want to be able to provide liquidity for even more. And if you think about like how exciting that is, if we can get sort of more assets on there, what the future holds for WooFi is really exciting.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like LPs were eating yesterday. And not to mention, I mean, if you guys are looking into getting to more exotic assets, I mean, like Arbitrum One is literally a garden for it, as you probably know already. All the different protocols that people use on it. I want to actually get a little deeper into that the WooFi just a little bit. Mainly just to get like a differentiation between how WooFi differentiates itself from WooFi Dex. Because I think you mentioned you also have a Dex as well. I'm not sure. It's like, is it the same thing? Is it it's a different deployment on Arbitrum, or like is there a difference there?
Yeah, that may be a little bit confusing there. So WooFi Dex is really just the name of our order book Dex, which is deployed on another blockchain. So what we've deployed on Arbitrum is basically the we call that regular WooFi product. So has all the modules as I mentioned, swap, earn, and stake, cross chain swap, right? So yeah, it only provides user with like a swap feature. So WooFi Dex is for the order book trading part, on-chain order book trading part. Yeah.
Okay, understood. Yeah, I think like, I mean, we definitely have our fair share of people asking us what's the difference between Nitro One, Nova, and all these different things. So yeah, it's not only you guys.
You guys have Nova as well, right? I digged into.
Yeah. You just get people confusing like Nitro as a chain, even though it's just a tech stack, and then AnyTrust, and yeah, it's we get it. The naming conventions isn't something that anyone's solved in this industry yet, I think.
Yeah, the idea is we want to bring all our decentralized product under the WooFi brand, right? In the future, all like maybe WooFi Dex will work more seamlessly with WooFi. Yeah, so yeah, that's why the name.
Mm-hmm. Another way you could think of differentiating though is like the type of user that would use it, right? So like an order book Dex is for very, I would say, power users. It's very similar to a CeFi trading experience where you have an order book, different order entry types. You can set your different types of orders, whether it's like a limit order, a market order, stop loss, this kind of thing. And to be honest, there's not a lot of people doing this on chain. Well, there's probably more today than there was yesterday. But there's, this is still a very growing field. And then the products and the technologies are growing alongside user education and things like that.
Wait, did you cut off, Ben, or are you still speaking? I can't tell.
Oh, where did I cut off at?
No, you sound good to me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, good. Okay. Just want
Yeah.
to make sure.
Yeah, and then just to finish that thought, the WooFi
In
swap
that case,
is
then
more of
maybe before we get into any
okay.
more details about WooFi and whatnot, love to hear maybe your thoughts on what the motivation behind deploying on Arbitrum was, and specifically like why deploy on Arbitrum now.
Yeah, I can take that one. I think that's very obvious. Like Arbitrum is probably now the most active blockchain, and we are super excited for layer two. Although we started on several alternative layer one, but we have been always thinking about ways to enter the Ethereum ecosystem. Yeah, so we always actually looking for blockchain that has basically like very active user base, very active trading activity, going on. Of course, like a very stable infrastructure, just because of the way how we provide that liquidity. We because the LP on WuFi swap is actually a professional market maker, so they are quoting their price at a very high frequency. So the stable like infrastructure is very important, and also the cost is also another consideration. Yeah, so that's why we were actually looking into Arbitrum or like almost like maybe 6 months ago. But at that time, we found that maybe running the WuFi on Arbitrum is the cost is a little bit too high, because we need to constantly update our price feed. And then that's why actually one of the key motivation for us to start working on V2, right? We want to enter the Ethereum ecosystem. We want to get on Arbitrum, but we want to also make our swap more efficient, and that's why we waited a little bit. I think another key reason is we saw the launch of Arbitrum Nitro, and it's super impressive, right? The cost drastically reduced, and I saw like a screenshot today, even during yesterday's like when the market was super volatile, the cost of Arbitrum transaction is still super cheap, right? So yeah, that I think that's like definitely a good decision that we decided to improve and bring our V2 on Arbitrum.
I think like as well that just to add on to what Kevin's saying, the growth that you guys have seen on Arbitrum is so impressive. Like when I was sort of deep diving into Arbitrum like a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at sort of like a lot of charts, and I could see the amount of like unique addresses on Arbitrum. You know, even in the past sort of couple of months, has sort of shot up by sort of multiple six figures. I think it was somewhere around sort of like 600,000 more unique addresses since 2 months ago, and it's been like pretty relentlessly sort of up only, if you will, like the amount of people that are sort of dipping their toe into Arbitrum, like trying out the ecosystem. And I think that with that comes like I think that comes an opportunity, right? Like because these people need sort of best pricing, they need better yields, and also just tools, right, to sort of like enter Arbitrum easily. Like you want to be able to like cross chain swap in there very quickly and start trying things out. Like it's in sort of our interest and the community's interest to like remove as much friction as possible and just give people better opportunities. And I think this is again sort of part of the motivation behind it.
It's interesting you guys said that, because for me, I thought the answer was
definitely have to
Andrew.
shout out the engineers on that one, especially in terms of like our newest Nitro upgrade. I mean, if you used Arbitrum beforehand and afterwards, I mean, Arbitrum one has always been a great product in my opinion. Of course, I'll say that, right? But with Nitro coming out, though, I mean, it really was a game changer for a lot of projects, especially ones that like you said, just like they needed the speed and really needed that. Frankly, like just like the cheap transaction costs that came along with it. And George, to your point, there's definitely no shortage of new projects coming, and I think that's kind of the fun of it. Like we just have this constant inflow of like great DeFi partners launching on Arbitrum, again including Wu Network, and that's just continuously building on top of this like DeFi Lego stack that I'm convinced is like infinite now. It's literally just like I don't know. I've never seen so many projects willing to build on top of each other, in one ecosystem. It's very interesting, actually.
Yeah, and Hunter, I'm surprised they actually went with the technical reasons, because I thought the answer was actually Andrew.
But
can you guys hear me?
A little.
Ben, we can hear you. I think Hunter
obviously
might be.
Go for it,
I think he's having issues with his internet, which is probably making it hard for him to hear you. But you're crystal clear for us.
Hunter, you're right. You can go.
Hunter, can you hear Ben?
I can't hear Ben, but I can hear you, George.
Why don't I drop and come back and then see if
Kevin typing?
Yeah, try that, Ben. If you drop, we can get Hunter. Ben's going to rejoin. If we can, we'll get him to request. If he can come back up, maybe that might help. Like let you hear him as he's speaking.
Yeah, let me bring him back on. By the way, I also invited the Wu Network account, the Wu Network account, if you want.
Ben, do you want to speak?
How about now, Hunter? You're breaking my heart there.
No, you're good. You're good. I apologize.
I was dropping.
You're good.
I was dropping all my best material, and you were just. It was just going over your head.
I mean, if you want, you can repeat it. I apologize.
No, I was just gonna say the experience. Beyond the technical stuff, like working with Andrew. We had one call with him, and just a fantastic personality, very in touch with both like traditional ecosystem building, startup entrepreneurship, and then what's going on in the Web3 space. And then having someone like that as a point of contact. There's also guys like Size, Chad, who I think I saw in the audience before, right? I mean, when you work with Arbitrum, it's much different than working with some of the other smaller side chains where, sometimes it's hard to get a hold of people, there's high turnover, and, that's, yeah, just a completely different experience.
Oh no, again, we definitely really appreciate it. I mean, like, yeah, our partnerships team, and yes, Andrew, of course, like I think like customer service is like built into everyone over here somehow. Like it's not something that we like tell people that they need to have when they come on, but I feel like it's like something that innately everyone here has. It's like you just got to treat people right, and they'll love you forever afterwards. Yeah, again, it's very interesting how it's kind of a rare thing to find in crypto sometimes, especially when you're working with other teams or maybe even other chains. But yeah, I think on that note, we can definitely talk a little bit more about WooFi. And I think the main thing here is just maybe getting into the nitty gritty about what differentiates itself from other dexes or pretty much any other kind of competitors actually that I can use today on Arbitrum.
Yeah, I can take that. I think what as I mentioned, we WooFi is I think generally more capital efficient than other DEXs. Like it definitely very different from AMM. So AMM is providing passive liquidity. Usually, like they need very deep, very large TVL in order for user to have decent like trading execution. But on WooFi, we don't have that constraint. I think maybe what you can compare like our SPMM to some similar product, maybe GMX. Like GMX also have this Oracle based pricing mechanism. Yeah. So, but on WooFi, the another key difference is on WooFi, the LP is actually professional market maker. I think the pricing is more granular. We actually can quote like even lower slippage. So that's why actually during every time the market was volatile, our volume will basically just increase dramatically, right? I think that's for user, like if they want to get high trading execution, quality execution on the major assets. And another thing is we offer the lowest swap fee. The swap fee is only 0.025%. Yeah, so user can really save the cost when they're trading on WooFi. Yeah, so I think we will get into later that we have other products like Supercharger Vault where user can earn really decent yields on their assets, and don't need to worry about like the impermanent loss and all that stuff. Maybe the other thing I want to just add on is like I think based on our observation, like a lot of the aggregators are sending us transaction volume because we provide one of the best pricing. So naturally, a lot of the order will be routed to WooFi, and we are probably the only DEX that pay rebates to the aggregators. It actually can be any D app, right? We are also working on with some metaverse project. They want to like create like something like a bank user can visit in their metaverse. They can click and start swap some assets, and at the back end, we handle the liquidity. We actually pay rebates to the third party DApp. The rebate is not in our token; it's in stable. It's actually 20% from the swap fee we charged. We're probably the only DEX that doing that, and we also see a lot of like on-chain arbitrager that's actually trading on WooFi. Actually, we deployed yesterday, 10 minutes later, there are already like some bots already connected with WooFi started to arbitrage, just because like we are basically providing the CeFi price, right? So when the market is volatile, there's usually price gap between CeFi and DeFi. Originally, if you want to arb between CeFi and DeFi, you have to have capital on both sides. But with WooFi, when WooFi is, there's a gap between WooFi price and other DEXs, they can just arbitrage on chain, right? With the assets in the same wallet, and it doesn't really create a lot of risk to us, just because our market maker, when they trade on chain, they also like have their strategy to hedge on our central exchange. So it's like a win-win situation here. Hello?
Hey, Kevin.
Well said, Kevin. I think Hunter's muted there.
Yeah. I was going to say I wasn't sure if Ben was talking, so I didn't want to. But I heard you. It's fine. So then, like, you mentioned a bunch of great things, by the way, especially differentiators. Are all these live on WooFi right now for Arbitrum users, or are some of them coming? Or are there even more things that you haven't spoken of that are coming as well?
No, what I talked, they're all we bring the whole product suite on Arbitrum like on day one. That's probably the first time we do it. Usually we will deploy one by one, but this time we were just too excited to bring our V2. That's why we launched all module like at once.
Yes, there's a bunch of, if you're in the audience and you're thinking like maybe what does WooFi actually look like, feel free to give it a try. It's at like fi.woo.org, and yeah, we've got like all of our products live right now. So if you want to swap on Arbitrum, like any blue chip assets, with like CeFi pricing, you can do that. If you want to swap cross chain into Arbitrum, maybe you're looking to explore the eco a bit more, or maybe you're on the sidelines, you can get in by cross chain swapping with WooFi, and like our swaps are like MEV resistant, and they take about they can complete in as little as 30 seconds. We also have like Woo staking. So if you want to stake, like if you own the Woo token and you want to stake it, you can do it on WooFi and earn like I think it's about 19% APR right now. And we also have supercharger vaults live on Arbitrum as well. And I think like this is probably like one of the most genius sort of products that Kevin has sort of come up with so far. It's like super, super clever stuff where if you want to earn like single-sided APR, no impermanent loss on your Ethereum or USDC on Arbitrum, again, you can do it with WooFi. You can just deposit, you'll earn alongside our professional market maker, and you'll even like get to share in, I think it's about 100,000 monthly bonus X-Woo rewards. So yeah, there's like a bunch of opportunities to check out. So just sort of, would be remiss if I didn't sort of plug that.
No, that's great. Wait, by the way, I don't know if I think maybe I didn't hear Kevin when he answered it, but so all that stuff is live on Arbitrum today, or
Yes, correct.
Can you hear Kevin, Hunter?
I don't think so. I think Kevin.
Now
I
it's
think
me.
they rugged my audio.
Well, Kevin, gonna have to sub you out. you're gonna have to.
I think Hunter has a thing against penguins.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I hear the pep fine. I think it's Kevin. I hear you, Ben, as well. I think Kevin.
Kevin, why don't you
Maybe
drop?
Yeah,
come back.
Whatever.
I'm just worried that if you drop, then most of the audience will too, because you're the main event here.
Yeah. Apologies about the connection, y'all. It's really weird too.
Yeah. Well, they told us it would be better under Elon, but here we are.
Yeah.
Wait, we've got Kevin back. Kevin, say something.
Oh, let's see. Fingers crossed.
He hasn't spoken yet.
Can you guys hear me now?
Okay. Yes, loud and clear.
Cool.
But yeah, Kevin, if you don't mind, well, I mean, if you already said it, I guess that's fine because people probably heard it back at the recording. So,
Yeah, all
but
the
in that case,
products we mentioned
maybe we can.
are live already.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was trying to get at there. I think actually maybe it makes sense to even jump to now the supercharger vaults. I know George, you pretty much gave like a TLDR of it, but maybe if there's anything else you want to mention about those vaults and how how it differentiates themselves from like other ways of earning in DeFi, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it definitely worth to dive a little bit deep on the supercharger vault. So as I mentioned, like supercharger vault is like WooFi's unique way for user to provide liquidity. So it works differently from like AMM where user provide passive liquidity. So how it works basically when user deposit, for example, ETH into the supercharger vault, first it will automatically the funds will automatically be deployed on Aave first, and will be sitting there available. And when the market maker can actually borrow from the supercharger vault, borrow ETH or USDC from the vault and provide liquidity on WooFi. So the reason we did that is like as I mentioned, WooFi is very capital efficient. So although the fee is very spread and fee is very small, like market maker can actually earn some decent profit from the trading strategy. And so that's why we want a user to basically benefit from the market making strategy on WooFi. So the way we do it is like allow market maker to pay interest on their loan, so the user can just basically lend their assets to market maker and earn the interest from from their trading profits. So the loan is uncollateralized. So that's why the market maker will have to pay much higher rates than like for example the lending rates on Aave. Yeah, but a lot of people will ask about the risk of uncollateralized lending. But what's different about WooFi's uncollateralized lending is it's like special purpose uncollateralized lending. What I mean by that is like the market maker can only initiate borrowing. The funds can only be transferred from the smart supercharger vault smart contract to WooFi swaps like liquidity pool, and they cannot like just move it out and send it to other places. And when they return, they just initiate like a transaction, and the funds will be returned from the liquidity pool back to the supercharger vault. So yeah, I think personally, I think this kind of special purpose uncollateralized lending is make more sense for DeFi, just because if it's general purpose, although it's like have more transparency, but when the borrower get the funds, if they just send it to like a centralized platform, like you basically lose the visibility from that point, right? So you don't know what's going on there, and you don't know like you only know there's like some issue until like it blows up, right? So if it's most like special purpose, everyone can see the capital flow, how it's being used, when it's being returned. I think it definitely can lower the risk a little bit. So yeah, so basically, user are earning from user just simply deposit their assets, but they are earning from the interest paid by market makers. They're earned from lending lending yields on Aave. At the same time, because we want to bootstrap this product, we are adding on top some of the like Woo rewards for the supercharger vault. So basically, user can also earn some of the staked Woo token as part of the yields. I think since we just started, the market maker will start to adding more and more liquidity to the liquidity pool. So recently, I think right now the last time I checked, the APR is still pretty decent, 2 digits on just single-sided ETH and stables.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, you mentioned like this kind of closed loop lending, uncollateralized, where people can't take it out. I mean, I don't think it's too important, right? Like, no market maker would be so negligent as to borrow user funds and then do random things with it, right?
Right. Right, because they are the market maker. Basically, they are running market neutral strategy. So that's why users don't have to worry about the imperm loss, because market maker, when it market making on chain, they are also hedging on the central exchange. So user will always able to withdraw the assets.
Sorry, I think I confused you with my sarcasm.
Oh,
that was a bit of a. But another thing that keeps people always wonder, like, if you have a market maker providing this off-chain pricing, what's to make sure that the price they get is accurate, right? And having the LP capital on chain in this situation, providing this quote, if the quote price goes off, there's a lot of these bots connected or traders who are very opportunistic, who will be able to arbitrage the difference very quickly. So any sort of price deviation is actually going to hurt the market maker and cause them to lose money. So it's kind of this, it's forcing them to make sure the price is always most accurate to market conditions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think because we use on-chain price fee, so the on-chain price fee is actually tradable, which is very important. Because if the price fee reporting like an inaccurate price, like Ben mentioned, like arbitrager bots will automatically come in very quickly and arbitrage from the pool, and the LP will actually lose money on that. So market maker is incentivized to make sure the price is accurate. That's actually one of the key advantage of the PMM versus some of the RFQ system, because RFQ, the quoting is off chain. So basically the market maker, technically they can reject some of the order or the trades come into the system. But for our on-chain price fee, since it's on-chain, it's confirmed. So actually, when user trade, it's guaranteed that will be executed.
How about that, Hunter? A little accountability among the market makers.
I love it. Accountability is the name of the game here, especially in crypto. I think actually maybe something else I'd love to hear a little more about is so you mentioned that a little bit of this is reliant on there being some sort of like Aave kind of a deployment for it. Is this like so in that case would maybe then like onboarding different assets to the Woo platform to WooFi depend on there being like an Aave market for it, or am I completely
Not really. The reason we just deploy like idle assets on Aave is because it really is because of the capital efficiency. Because, like, for example, there's 1 million in the vault. Maybe at the moment market maker they only need 800K, so they will borrow 800K and pay high interest on that 800K. So the remaining 200K we will put in like Aave to make sure they are still earning some yields. So if we are adding some assets that's not supported by Aave, we will look for some like low risk, just single-sided maybe lending strategy. If there is, we may incorporate that into the supercharger vault. But if not, we can always just keep the idle assets in the vault and just doing nothing. That's fine.
Yeah, and also you could just list an asset and not open a supercharger vault for it, right? And then just the LP has to bring their own capital along.
Correct.
Got you. Okay, no, that totally makes sense. No, and I think that's like, I mean, like at the end of the day, like like you mentioned, accountability is obviously very important in the space. But second to that is also yield. People love the yields. I think last I checked, I think it's like 19% or something, which is pretty insane. I think I'm looking at the right thing, by the way. I keep looking at the
Right. Now it's like 28 on USDC. Or yeah, obviously the TVL is still low, and also the borrowing activity hasn't really like ramp up. Just because we just launched, we want to observe a little bit how the trading goes on Arbitrum. But based on what we have seen, it's already very active, which is really impressive.
Yeah, there's usually a very slow ramp time on networks because a lot of flow comes from aggregators such as 1inch, Paraswap, 0x. A lot of these are multi-chain. So when we come to a new chain, provide the smart contract details, it still takes them a little bit of time to integrate. So I mean that gives the WooFi team a good chance to monitor how things are and then ramp them up slowly, which is actually a good thing, right? Because you don't want to launch something on chain, you know.
I think as well, like we've always had this approach, which has always been, when we roll out these features, we always take a very cautious, very conservative approach where we've done our due diligence with so for instance, these superchargers have been audited twice by two different like security protocols. I think one was PeckShield, the other one was by Certic. This is like obviously discounting the the many other audits that WooFi itself has received. And what we're just trying to build here is kind of like a place where like any Arbitrum user can come, and they can have, I have to say, obviously, nothing in crypto is ever risk free, right? But we try everything that we can to just give our product armor plating, so that that user can kind of have that confidence that they can leave their assets in a supercharger vault for a prolonged period of time. Essentially, look at it from the perspective they're putting it in cold storage, they're forgetting about it because maybe they're very bullish on Ethereum long term, right? Or maybe they just want to keep that sort of percentage of their portfolio in stables, but they also want to earn yield on it. And I think like more now than ever is there is this need for these sort of places which are as secure as they can be, where you can have the kind of confidence in a project that this is not, when you come back in a year, it's still going to be there, right? And this is what we're striving to do, Hunter, really, because I feel like this is something in the space that's been sort of lacking for such a long period of time. In an environment where sort of distrust sort of is probably now at all-time highs, for sort of everyone in the business. I think it's important that we instill confidence in people and sort of release products that are as bulletproof as they possibly can be. Yeah.
Totally agree. I mean, so safety and security of the protocols, like definitely like the most important. It's funny because I think like it's such like an obvious like that you need to make sure that like a team is on top of, but um, I remember a little while ago that there was like I don't know. I want to say the word movement, but I don't think it was that big. But this kind of like idea that like it's okay to test and prod, which is like not really. I would never recommend that to anybody. Like making sure users are safe, like the most important thing, and it's something we also pride ourselves here at Arbitrum as well. So definitely aligned with you on that one. I think though, go for it.
No, I was just going to say something along the lines of that's awesome. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, I no, again, definitely. I think though, actually, it would be kind of cool before we jump off of the DeFi stuff, to kind of end off with just like a little note here. So for those of you who don't know, you can actually do cross chain swapping on WooFi as well. So if you want to go from a different chain to Arbitrum, let's say, and maybe choose a different asset, you can do that. What I'd like to ask you guys is about is more so like what are the advantages of having cross chain swapping versus just having like a general bridging kind of platform.
Uh, yeah, I can take that one first. Yes, first, like, because WooFi is deployed on multiple blockchain, now we are on 5 different blockchain, so it's very natural for us to add this feature for user to do just one click cross chain swap between any of these like two chain. So our cross chain swap is built on top of Stargate. I think we are the first one that actually have the cross chain swap live on on Stargate. So right now people can just like no matter they can, well, if you have assets on BSC, Phantom, Avalanche, Polygon, you can like say you want to get more ETH on Arbitrum, but you want to swap with your like say Matic, so you can just go to just switch to Matic on WooFi and swap Matic to the ETH on Arbitrum, just one click. And usually like it takes as it could be as little as just 30 seconds, sometimes 1 to 2 minutes, and the ETH will just automatically arrive on the same address on Arbitrum. I think personally, versus like bridging, like you probably need to go on to 3 different UIs and do 3 different transactions. So it's much easier. The user experience is much better. So personally, I use it quite often. Just for example, sometimes I do a little bit DeFi farming on one of the blockchain and earn some yields. I just want to simply like sell it into stablecoin and accumulate more ETH. What I can on Woo, what I can do is just using that swap that stable coin on one blockchain to like on Arbitrum, right? Yeah, that's very easy to do.
Awesome, yeah, and it's funny because I think there's like a lot of people who maybe kind of I think they put both into the same category, it's cross chain swapping and bridging. I mean, you're just moving across blockchains, right? But in this case, you can choose a different asset while you're doing it. Um, well, yeah, it's funny. I think when I first heard about it, I always kind of thought to myself, like, okay, well, I guess cross chain swapping is more or less the same thing, but maybe just a little more gas intensive because you're doing another, like on chain action, right? You're instantly swapping as well. But I feel like in the grand scheme of things, like, at least from a gas standpoint, pretty much the same thing. And like,
Yeah.
it's like from a UI UX standpoint, it's better.
I think the best advantage for having that is every time you go into a new chain, you need a new native gas token. So if you like, let's say you have stables, you want to swap them across, you want to bridge them across, excuse me, you're going to bridge that, and then you still have to execute like a second withdrawal from a centralized exchange that supports that network of the native gas token to do anything with it, right? So for a swap, it's very easy to, if you have a bunch of stables on, Avalanche C chain, you first do like a really small swap transaction. It goes there first for the new gas, which would be ETH on Arbitrum, and then you send the stables the rest of the way. So that saves a lot of steps.
Awesome. Yeah, I think now then would be a nice little time to talk about something. I guess this is all this stuff is really fun, by the way. But something even more fun. Um, so you guys issued something called the WooFi Wizard NFT. I think it was a little while ago. My question here is, how can Arbitrum users get involved, and frankly, like, what is it?
Maybe George can get this one.
Oh yeah, I'll take this one. So you can think of the WooFi Wizard program as just like a way to get people familiar with like WooFi's suite of products. Because I think like not necessarily everyone has tried staking Woo on WooFi, nor have they tried swapping assets cross chain. And we're sort of like giving extra incentives for people to do it by letting them sort of collect some snazzy little NFTs along the way. So right now, I think it's like a 4-part series. So if you complete 4 different actions, one of them is like completing a cross-chain swap and staking some Woo. One of them is about depositing some BNB into one of our supercharger vaults. One of them is about trying another one of our earn vaults. Another one is about sort of getting people to recognize that WooFi's sort of liquidity is everywhere, that we're plugged into all of these DEX aggregators. If you just complete those 4 simple actions, then you get access to the magical masterpiece that is the WooFi Wizard NFT, which took our design team a long time to make. It was a real sort of it took a long time, and it's like a nice little animated NFT that sort of showcases how you have kind of mastered WooFi. And if you master WooFi and you get the NFT, then you get access to like an exclusive WooFi Wizard Discord role. there's a channel where Kevin appears daily in it, in fact, and he's regularly dropping alpha to people who are appearing in that channel. So if you're curious about what are the latest developments of WooFi, where's it going, what's it doing, you want to be a WooFi wizard to be getting the alpha straight from Kevin, because WooFi wizards kind of maybe had the edge. They knew about Arbitrum before it was even live. And we're also looking to reward WooFi wizards in the future. Right now, it's like we're just basically a bunch of WooFi enthusiasts. We live and breathe WooFi, and we're all just in the chat, sort of discussing, what it is that we like about WooFi, what we're up to. But I kind of want to make it, have a bigger vision where we can sort of maybe reward these users a bit more. Maybe look into the possibility of merch. This is in the works, and just I think show our appreciation to WooFi wizards who go to those lengths to try our product, because I think there's an inherent fear in everyone, or there's this inherent thing where we which puts people off trying new things, right? I think a good example of that. You think about how when people are going to work every morning, if they work a 9 to 5 job, there's probably multiple ways that they can get to work, whether they're driving or they're getting the subway, whatever it is. But most people tend to always go the same route, don't they? They never tend to err from the path that they've chosen, because we like simplicity in life. And once we've found one thing, that we can sort of use to complete an objective, we tend to do it over and over again. So this is just to encourage people to sort of break out of their comfort zone and try something new, get some nice NFTs in the process, meet a community of people who are all lighthearted, who like sharing wizard memes, wizard gifts. So yeah, just check it out. It's on Project Galaxy. You can find it if you just look for Woo on Project Galaxy. You'll find our little space, and in there you can find the steps. We've got video guides as well to sort of hold you by the hand if you're worried about messing up the steps. It's impossible actually to do it wrong, because we've got like really, really basic videos which will show you how to do it.
Mm-hmm. I love your philosophical reference there about getting to work. I guess the one difference would be if you decide to ride your bike to work, you usually don't get rugged for your life savings on some B&B farm. But yeah, other than that, it's the same thing.
So George, since we are on Arbitrum, do we have NFT plan for Arbitrum users?
So we are.
I think people want to hear that.
There's something that we're cooking up at the moment. It's not finalized 100% yet, but we are wanting to release an NFT. It may not be in the WooFi Wizard series. That is to be determined, but there will be one way in which you can get what will be quite a flashy Arbitrum NFT. I think we're very excited to be on Arbitrum. We want to sort of show to Arbinauts how WooFi can sort of make your life better. This has always been the goal of WooFi. It's never been about us. It's always been about empowering people, making people's lives better, giving them access to tools that previously weren't available. So yeah, we'll definitely release an NFT, whether it's next week or the week after. I can't confirm yet, but I'm certain it probably will come, and it will be quite a spiffy NFT. So keep your eyes out. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Woo Network, and that will be where we sort of tweet how to obtain it once it comes live.
Awesome. Yes. Love the alpha there. I think at this point, especially with the Odyssey that we had and that we're planning on continuing, NFTs on Arbitrum have definitely been a big thing for a while. So those who are already using Arbitrum are definitely looking forward to whether we're in the Wizard NFT series or not. NFT is still an NFT, and definitely excited about it.
Hey, Hunter, can we turn this around on you? Because I know we only have a few minutes left, and this Arbitrum community as well as anyone. I'm curious if you have any advice or suggestions for a protocol that just integrated and is really looking to expand and make genuine connections with the Arbitrum community.
Oh yes, totally. I mean, frankly, it's funny. I think I mentioned it a lot on these spaces, but I think like the best cheat code, like the best way to like onboard yourself to Arbitrum, and do really well. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, number one most important thing is like security and audits and all that stuff. So assuming that all those are done, the obvious thing there is just to collab. Like literally, like I think that's like one of the biggest value propositions that exists on Arbitrum One today. And that also exists on Nova, is literally just like the willingness of like every protocol on here to just collab, whether it be through like a vault, whether it be through like an integration in like a swapping platform, or like honestly as creative as you can get. And the main reason is because it's like entering like it's literally like entering a new town, and I always use this analogy, but it's like if you, like when you're the new kid on the block, yeah, it's easy for you to kind of just do your own thing, stay at home, and kind of build vertically from there. But it's a lot. I think it's a lot more. It's a much easier way to get eyes on you and to get integrated with everyone else when you're talking to your neighbors, or like you're joining like the local clubs or something like that. Again, comparison here, and just making sure that like your presence is heard in the ecosystem. So to me, ecosystem collaboration is something that we push like hard on as a team. So like whether it's you guys or honestly anyone deploying onto Arbitrum, that is kind of like one of the things like we do highly recommend is literally just making sure that obviously your product, but also like you integrate other products as well, other communities. It's literally like a growth hack, honestly.
Very nice. Thank you for that. I'm sure George was taking notes over there.
That's it. I was literally about to say, just taking some notes here. Yeah, it's very, very, very helpful, Hunter. And like I say, we're so excited to be on Arbitrum now, and I think we already have some plans, but I think we'll be definitely after this conversation strategizing, think about more more things that we can do moving forward. Because I think the opportunities that are on Arbitrum are abound. And yeah.
Oh, you gonna say anything, Ben, or
no? No, I just
Okay.
had the unmuted.
I like that. We're ready to say anything. In that case, I know we're getting close on time here, but just so we can kind of make sure we wrap up correctly, any alpha you can give us on WooFi, or anything we should look out for? Pretty much, what's the roadmap looking like?
Yeah, I think you can look out for like first like the volume and also the TVL to ramp up gradually. I think what it means for users, it will be more like probably higher like yields on the supercharger vault as the market makers start to borrow more, and we will also adjust like the allocation of our additional rewards across different blockchain as like Arbitrum getting more and more attraction will shift more incentive to Arbitrum, and the other thing is George mentioned we are actually planning for some kind of NFT campaign for the Arbitrum user. So ultimately, we want to do these NFTs are fun, right? But ultimately, something we are working on is we want to really like merge the combine NFT in with our product, so the NFT have some utility in WooFi. So it's something we are working on, and yeah, we will definitely bring like these features on Arbitrum. Maybe if you win an NFT now, you could potentially in the future have some utility on WooFi, for example, like boost your staking yields or some other cool things.
When Kevin says he's working on something, that usually means it's going to get done. I say that pretty much always means it's going to get done. So if you're in the audience, definitely keep an eye out on our NFTs. I think even I am massively excited about this concept of potentially adding utility to NFTs, adding a whole nother sort of layer on top of just having a nice piece of art. So I think we will definitely be sort of paving the way for something interesting there. And just keep an eye out.
Awesome. And yeah, I think just in the interest of time, I think the best thing I guess for now is to to let the audience know if there's anyone who has any questions, wants to join the community, or even collaborate in any way. What's the best way for them to do that?
They should definitely follow us on Twitter at Woo Network. I'd say we tweet on there, we're tweeting on there daily. And it's probably like the main source of information if you want to be like up to date with all of our developments from WooX to WooFi to WooFi Dex, even to learn about what WooForce is or Woo Ventures. Yeah, there are so many different aspects to Woo. If you want to learn about it, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Our website is woo.org if you want to just sort of scan our homepage a bit more. And yeah, I'd say that if you're looking to learn more about Woo, I would say like be prepared for a deep dive because we're not, we're not like just any other project. We're not a fork or we're not just a replica of anyone else. What we are is very unique, very much like an octopus with tentacles all over DeFi and CeFi. Our liquidity is sort of flowing everywhere. It's quite a journey learning about Woo. So be patient and just enjoy the journey as you read through our docs and just looking forward to sort of maybe seeing some new people in the community. We have quite a thriving Discord. So yeah, if you want to join the Discord, that would also be good. The link to that is in our Barracuda on our Twitter page. Think of that as the gateway into the Woo ecosystem to follow all of our channels. We are on CoinMarketCap, we're on Instagram, we're on Binance Buzz. We're pretty much everywhere. But think of the Barracuda link as the gateway into following us everywhere we go. And yeah, look forward to seeing maybe some new faces. Maybe Telegram. That's where we also are. We have a Telegram announcements channel. So make sure to just join all these channels and keep up to date because whilst we may be in a bear market, our attitude is very much we want to keep building, build. That's all we're going to do. So if you want to keep up to date, follow us.
That was the best pitch I've ever heard, by the way. Very detailed and awesome. Well, we really appreciate you guys for coming on today. Those in the audience, definitely look out to see what Woo Network builds next at Arbitrum. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.